In today's video, we'll go over Adobe InDesign versus Canva. You've got this classic matchup, right? On one side, you've got the heavyweight champion of professional publishing. We're talking unmatched precision. And on the other, you have the super accessible, lightning-fast hero of everyday design. It's really a showdown between total absolute control and just effortless creation. And trust me, choosing the right one can completely change the game for your workflow.
So yeah, that's the big question we're really diving into today. Are you a professional powerhouse or an accessible hero? I mean, think about it. Are you the person building a 100-page magazine that needs, pixel-perfect type for print? Or are you a business owner who's got to whip up a quick social media graphic in the 10 minutes you have between meetings? This isn't just a software choice. It's about two completely different philosophies on what design even is, and more importantly, who gets to create it. And this whole dilemma is captured perfectly by this story from an architect named Tim Willman. He was trained on InDesign, right? The industry standard. For him, it was like breathing. But then he started his own practice. And suddenly, the reality of running a business, we're talking client meetings, admin, just endless deadlines, it all hit him like a ton of bricks. He realized pretty quick that his most valuable resource wasn't all the fancy software features. Nope, it was time. And that conflict, right there, is the perfect way to frame this whole comparison. All right, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll dig into that modern design dilemma we just talked about. Then, we'll meet our two design titans. After that, it's the main event, a head-to-head comparison. We'll look at pricing, cost versus value, and then help you choose your champion. And finally, we'll peek into the future of creation. Let's get into it. Okay, first up, the modern design dilemma. This really is the heart of the matter, isn't it? It's that constant tug-of-war between getting something done fast and getting it done perfectly. And honestly, it's a challenge that affects pretty much anyone making visual stuff today. All right, time to properly meet the design titans. And I want you to think of them as more than just software, okay? Think of them as, well, champions, fighting for two very different types of creators, each with their own vision for what design should be. First in the ring, we have Adobe InDesign. Look, this is the undisputed king, the industry standard for professional publishing. It's a beast of a desktop program for sure. It's resource-heavy, and let's be honest, the learning curve is steep. But if you put in the time, you get an absolute powerhouse. We're talking books, magazines, anything with super complex layouts. InDesign's whole game is about incredible, granular precision, and it plays perfectly with Photoshop and Illustrator as part of the Adobe Creative Cloud. And in the other corner, we've got Canva. This is the platform that really blew the doors open and democratized design for everyone. It's web-based, so you can use it on any device, and it is so beginner-friendly. I mean, with its drag-and-drop setup and a massive library of templates, Canva makes it possible for literally anyone. And I mean non-designers, social media managers, you name it, to create something that looks great in just a few minutes. It's all about speed, easy collaboration, and just making design accessible. Okay, let's get to the main event. It's time for the head-to-head comparison. We're going to break down the key areas where these two really go at it and see where each one truly comes out on top. This is where we get into the nitty-gritty. First up, layout and typography. And honestly, this is the soul of professional design. InDesign is just in a completely different league here. You've got master pages for consistency across huge documents, and this incredible, meticulous control over stuff like kerning and tracking. That's just a fancy way of saying you can control the exact spacing between letters. It sounds small, but it's what makes text look truly professional. Canva, on the other hand, is all about speed. You get tons of great-looking, pre-styled fonts and layouts that are ready to go. It looks good, it's fast, but you just don't get that same pixel-perfect granular control. Okay, this next one is a huge difference, and it's basically baked into their DNA. Print versus digital. Think of it like this. InDesign was born for the world of print. It speaks the language of commercial printers. It thinks in CMYK, that's cyan, magenta, yellow, and black ink, to make sure the colors on paper look exactly how you want them. Canva? It's a digital native through and through. It lives and breathes on screens. It thinks in RGB, red, green, and blue light, which is perfect for making those vibrant graphics for your Instagram feed, your website, or your presentations. And this quote, wow, it just perfectly captures the real-world headache of that print versus digital divide. This is from a print company owner on Reddit, and it says everything you need to know. When a client sends them a file made in Canva, it almost always means more work for the printer. You've got common problems like missing bleed. That's the little extra bit of image around the edges that gets trimmed off so you don't have weird white borders. Or the colors are all in RGB for screens, not CMYK for ink, so the final print can end up looking dull and muddy. It is the classic example of using the wrong tool for the job.
Now, let's talk about collaboration, because in today's world, it's everything. And here, well, Canva has a massive, massive advantage. It's all cloud-based, which makes teamwork just effortless. You just share a link, and your whole team can be in the same file at the same time, making edits, leaving comments. It's just built for how people work now. InDesign, its approach is much more traditional, and honestly, a lot more clunky. You often need to bring in other Adobe tools like InCopy just to get text editing done collaboratively. It's a whole different ballgame.
All right, let's talk about the price. Because, of course, we have to talk about the money. But I don't want you to just think about the price tag. This is really a conversation about cost versus value. What do you actually get for your money, and does it match up with what you're trying to do? So, if you look at the pricing, the story becomes really clear. InDesign is a premium professional tool, and it has a subscription to match. You're looking at about $21 a month just for the app itself. And there's no real free version outside of a short trial. Canva, though, it plays the freemium game. And its free version is frankly incredibly generous. But for around $13 a month, you get Canva Pro, which unlocks this huge toolbox, a brand kit to keep your stuff consistent, a one-click background remover, and this gigantic library of over 75 million stock photos and videos. For a small business owner, that kind of value is really hard to argue with. So, we've been through a lot. How do you actually pick your champion? Look, here's the truth. There's no single best tool. It just doesn't exist. But there is a right tool for you, and that depends entirely on who you are and what you need to get done. Okay, let's make this simple. You should choose InDesign if you're a professional, full stop. If your job is graphic designer or publisher, if you spend your days building complex documents like books or catalogs, and if the idea of not having total pixel-perfect control over your typography makes you physically uncomfortable, then InDesign is your weapon of choice. It is absolutely essential if you're sending files to a commercial printer or if you're already deep inside that Adobe ecosystem. And on the flip side, you should choose Canva if your most precious resource is time. If you're that small business owner like Tim the architect, or a social media manager, or really anyone who isn't a professionally trained designer but still needs to make great-looking stuff fast. If what you care about is speed, having thousands of templates at your fingertips, collaborating with your team in real time, and being able to work from anywhere, Canva was literally built for you. All right, last section. Let's look to the future, because neither of these platforms is just sitting still. The battle for the future of design and creation is really heating up, and both of these titans have very clear and very different ideas about where things are headed. So, what's next? Well, Adobe is doubling down on InDesign's role as the go-to professional tool. They're pouring resources into AI features to make those complex tasks even faster for high-level designers. Canva, though, they're looking to expand their empire. They're moving beyond just simple design and are making a play for the entire business world, trying to become the all-in-one visual communication tool for whole companies. And that leaves us with one last big question to think about. Is the future of design all about professional precision, that meticulous craft that InDesign represents? Or is it about democratized access, the quick, easy creation that Canva offers to everyone? You know, the answer is probably both. They can coexist. But the path you choose, well, that all comes down to the story that you need to tell.